Exclamation, everybody, and welcome to another channel update. This one for January 2018. Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody's had a great holiday and hopefully a restful holiday at that. I am back to it, back to the old grinding stone kind of, I guess. There's a few things going on with the channel. For those of you new to the channel, I try to do a channel update at least once a month. This is my chance to sort of peel back the curtain a little bit and show you what's going on and kind of talk about some things. And it's this update's going to be a little bit vloggy, sort of. And I apologize, but it's relevant to the channel. I don't want this to be a vlog thing. I want this really to just be focused on the channel. But there's a few things going on that are affecting the channel that I want to talk about. A few things going on with me. Let's put it that way. But before we begin, let's get into the stats of the channel. This is the only time in the month that I actually look at stats, so I might as well just try to compare and contrast between months and all that stuff. So first off, number of views, total channel views went from 127,777 last month to 129,813. So a relatively good showing there. We went from 436 subs to 438. We've been up and down a little bit. It's like 439, 438, 439, 438. So it's 438 as of today, the 15th of January, when I'm recording this. And we went from 10,521 total minutes watched to 10,343. So we're holding about steady there. That's about right. Went from we had 2,309 total videos on the channel last month, and now we're up to 2,338. A very slow month, but a lot of that is to do with both the holidays and also changes to how I've been doing things, and some of this other stuff that I'll talk about in a little bit. As far as streaming is concerned, on Mixer we went from 18 subs or 18 follows, I should say, last month to 21 now. So we're making a slow progress, slowly continuing forward with that. We had a huge jump the month before from 5 to 18, so it's nice to see that we're still continuing to move forward on that and slowly, very slowly gain follows and stuff. So that's really cool. And I've started from time to time streaming on a new service called Caffeine. It's still in alpha, pre-release, whatever they're calling it. It's not the greatest service right now. It's very, very limited. There's only certain games that it supports. It's notable because you can play a full screen game and still see your chat on the screen. It actually overlays it on the game, which is nice. You don't have to do... I use Restream chat, which allows me to see the chat on screen, but I have to play the game in like a borderless window or windowed mode in order to see it. Otherwise, it doesn't go... it doesn't work very well, which leads to other problems because a lot of games don't constrain their mouse to the window and stuff like that. So it's nice to have something that works in a full screen game. So that's kind of cool. There's a lot of other things that they have about that service that aren't really that spectacular. Let's put it that way. So it's still got some learning to do, I think. I think they're tackling problems that aren't really problems. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. They have a feature where, you can move the, and it's per user, you can move the, if a streamer has a webcam turned on, you can move it around the screen. So if it's blocking something, you can move their webcam around, which is not really a problem that anybody actually has, but it's a feature of their platform. I don't know why they're spending a lot of time on stupid nonsense, but it's not very often that I get an opportunity to um, play with a service like this when it's still in its infancy. So I've been kind of using it as that, as using it as a way to sort of get in on the ground floor. I've been kicking myself a lot lately because I actually, if you look at my Mixer page, you'll see that I have a badge saying that I was part of Beam back in the day, and when it was Beam Pro, and I actually had created my account on there. I want to say maybe 2 years ago, when it was still very, very sort of unknown, and I never streamed to it. And I'm kind of kicking myself because if I had gotten in then, I might be a little bit further along than I am now. It's that whole early adopter thing. You know what I mean? They tend to have a little bit extra abilities to do things. Let's put it that way. They tend to get in. When you get in on the ground floor, you tend to have a little bit more of an advantage over others. But it's not much I can do about that. I wasn't really streaming that hardcore then either. So it is what it is right now. So that said, that was a long run up to say that every so often I'm going to be streaming stuff to Caffeine. There's only certain games. They only have like 402 games as of today that it actually supports. Technically it supports more because I'm a programmer and I can go and change the class ID of I could go hex edit games and change their class ID to something that it will support, and then suddenly it just works. I won't do that because I don't want to get banned for doing that kind of thing. But it's, let's just say the way that they hook onto games, not foolproof. That said, I have 2 followers over there now. I am going to keep streaming a little bit here and there, just things that I know I'm not going to record. So right now it's been Just Cause 3, and I'm going to just keep playing Just Cause 3 over there for a little bit. I might play some Fortnite over there. Things that I know I'm just not going to stream. I tried playing Van Helsing over there. The problem is, and actually the game is better than I thought it was. I didn't realize the game was as good as it is. And the problem is that it's crashes a lot, and it's not just the overlay that's causing it to crash. It crashes on its own too. I tested it myself, and it's just not. It's buggy, and that's the unfortunate part of it. So we won't be seeing any recordings of that because it'll just be a freaking nightmare to keep it from bugging out constantly, from crashing the desktop constantly. In fact, not only does it crash the desktop, sometimes it'll crash the desktop once, and then you come back into it, and then it will hard lock on you, where it just won't. It won't respond to any commands or anything like that. It'll just sit there and just be annoying stuff. So it's just. I would love to do a recording of that game. It's just the game is very, very, very broken. It was fun the hour and a half that I got into it before it became very, very broken, but beyond that, yeah, it's not happening there. So I have two followers over there. And then as far as time is concerned, the amount of time I've been streaming, last month, it was very high because I went pretty hardcore on the streaming. I was at 76 hours streaming. This month, 36. Between December the 18th and today, January the 15th. I've only done 36 hours, so 40-hour difference. A lot of that is due to me just trying to rejigger my schedule a little bit. Some of that has to do with the holidays. Some of it has to do with just kind of not knowing what I want to do yet. I have some plans around things I want to do. I've actually been really going a little bit hardcore on the MMOs now, because there's been a lot of MMOs out there that I've wanted to try, but I've never really wanted to sit down and edit them and all that stuff. And now I have an opportunity where I can edit a bunch of things. I'm only going to do like 1, maybe 2 MMOs on the channel. The rest are just going to be stream only, and that's that. So I just wanted to. I might get back to Star Trek Online, and I'm definitely doing Elder Scrolls Online. I'm having that where I'm editing that, but then there's other ones that I'm doing, like the one you're seeing on your screen, which is, by the way, Wild Buster is the game on your screen. I forgot to mention that off the head. Things like that. Wild Buster, I'm only going to stream. I'm not going to try to edit that together. I'm trying to reduce my workload as far as editing is concerned, because I want to focus that on the other things like side quest videos, which by far and away are the more popular things on the channel, and the series that I'm working on and stuff. That's what I have there. I actually am planning on streaming some more Warframe. I had streamed Warframe last weekend, I believe, and it was my first time playing it, and got a lot of help from the community. A lot of people showed up and gave me some pointers, because the thing about Warframe is that it's very it kind of just dumps you into the deep end, and it's like, swim, bastard. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and it's very intimidating as a game. Because it's very, very popular, and there's a lot of people who play it, and there's just a lot of mechanics in there that I just don't quite get. But thanks to a few people showing up on the stream, I was able to learn how certain things work, and so I'm getting a little bit more confident with it. So I definitely want to play some more Warframe. Probably going to play that on Mixer. That is also supported on Caffeine, but I kind of think there's more of a community on Mixer. So I kind of want to sit there and do that. So I'll be playing more of that soonish. Also going to play some more Slay the Spire and whatnot. Apparently, I did a side quest video on Slay the Spire, 2 months ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. I forget what it was. And apparently that my video hasn't, but apparently the game itself has blown up. Like, somebody else discovered it and just went ham on it, like a big YouTuber, and now everybody's streaming that and playing it, but not on Mixer for some reason. I think that's mostly being streamed on Twitch. So I might have an opportunity there to actually make a foothold on that. So I'll probably be streaming that tomorrow. The way I'm working with the schedule now is I'm trying to, I do want to keep streaming a lot, but I'm trying to give myself time to do the other things on the channel that I need to do. I need time to do editing, which I'm so far behind on editing. That's why there's a lot of videos. You haven't been seeing a lot of videos. You're seeing there's been a couple days where I haven't had any videos up. Most of the days I've only had one video. Today I had two, but I forgot to upload the other one until I got home from work. So that one went up. The Horizon Zero Dawn one went out very late. So sorry about that. So I want to have a day to do that. I want to have a day to do the Steam Curator stuff. I want to have a day to do some research on new games and stuff like that, and other games I might want to play, things of that nature. So I'm trying to switch up my strategy a little bit. Normally I've been doing that on the weekends, but there's been a lot of other like real life stuff that I've been doing on the weekends, like home repair and things like that, and improvement and stuff like that. So it's at some point I want to. I've seen a couple streamers who only stream like early morning my time, like 6 a.m., which is actually kind of appealing to me, because the one thing I don't really like so much about streaming is time zones. Time zones suck. It's the one thing that I can kind of get around in YouTube, because you're always there. The video's there. It's pre-recorded. You can just, you can watch at your leisure. Live streams, yes, there's VODs, but it doesn't seem like anybody really goes out searching for VODs. You know what I mean? It's kind of why a lot of people just dump their VODs unedited onto YouTube, because at least someone will go watch them. I I left my. Oh no, that's from the recording. I'm sorry. I noticed the little nag teaser there that showed up behind me, but that's actually from the pre-recorded video that's playing. Making myself out now. So it's I've been wanting to kind of do some morning streams. I can't do it during the week. That's just it's not possible. But on the weekends, I've been thinking about maybe trying to do like an early morning my time stream, which, you know, being Eastern time, so we're Eastern Standard Time, so I am what, 6 hours, 7 hours behind GMT. So I think it's 6 or 7. I don't remember which one. I think it's 6 at Standard Time and 7 in Daylight Time. Time zones suck. In other words, you know, when I'm waking up at 6 in the morning, it's probably noon in like London, say. So that would be appealing as far as getting an audience that is not US based, because during the week I have to stream at nighttime my time, you know, 8:30, 9:30 p.m. my time, and by that time I'm getting either the night owls who have insomnia and need somebody to help them go to sleep, which here I am. And there's and then there's US based people. So it would be, you know, or West Coast people who are 3 hours behind me. So, you know, that kind of thing it would be nice if I could do some morning stuff on the weekends when it's possible, or even if it's a day off. If I have a day off, I might do that too. So keep an eye out for some of those. I might surprise you someday. I'll probably surprise myself first, and then I'll surprise you guys with what I've done. So there's that. Schedule wise, my video schedule has been relatively unchanged for about 2 years. I'm making a slight tweak to it. Normally, I'd have a video at 10:30 my time and then 2:30 my time. The 10:31 is getting a little bit more difficult to meet. So I've actually bumped that up an hour. So my morning videos are now coming out at 11:30. I've just started doing that over the last couple of videos. That seems to work out a little bit better. And then, assuming I remember at lunchtime at work to upload the the 2:31, the 2:31 will still be at 2:30. So just a slight tweak. It's just to make it a little bit easier to get it out in the morning. That's all. I like to be able to get a jump on things and whatnot. So it's helping me out a bit. I want to, before I talk about I've got some new equipment going on and stuff like that, and I'll talk about that in a minute, or a couple minutes. But before I want to do that, I want to address my, something else going on with the channel. And this is where I'm going to kind of get a little vloggy, and I apologize. I don't want to be a vlogger channel thingy majigger, but this is relevant to the channel. I am fat. Really, really. I know that doesn't come as much of a surprise, especially since you can see my face now. But about, I'd say 2009 or so, I went on a diet and I went exercising, and I hit it pretty good. I had a problem where what prompted it was I nearly suffocated in my sleep. I had just a sleep apnea. It just happened. It's never happened again, thank God. But it was just an acute case where I was just really dead tired. I was working at a job at the time that was the hours were wonky. I was putting, I had 1 week where I put about 90 some odd hours in, which I know there's some out there who'd be like, oh, that's nothing. I do that all the time. But it was a little bit rough. I was watching the sunrise at work many a day. Um, so I at the end of one of those stints, I was really, really tired. I had done like 36 hours or something like that, something close to that. And I, went home early and just crashed in bed. And then I had the episode where I woke up in a panic about 2 hours into that and was gasping for air. I had just stopped breathing. I was so out of it. That was kind of my wake up call to do two things. One is I started looking for another job and ended up finding it. And that was years ago, by the way. That's not my current job. My current job is great. But the second thing was it prompted me to hit the gym and go on a diet. At that time, just to give you kind of an idea, at that time I had a problem where I was very, very low energy. I was at the height of it, I was 333 pounds, which I don't know what that translates to stones or grams or anything like that. You'll just have to ask Google. But the problem that I was running into was I was very, very low energy. So much so that just to stay awake at work, I was drinking something like 7 12-ounce cans of soda, fully caffeinated soda, 3 or 4 cups of coffee. And at the time, I don't think ThinkGeek sells it anymore, but at the time they were selling like caffeinated candy, like mints and stuff. I was popping those, just anything I could to just try to stay awake. And it was slowly, ever so slowly, not working anymore. Like I had built up a tolerance to it. And so I said, when I finally said this can't continue, I quit all that cold turkey, which to this day, I'm still doing decaf for everything, because as soon as I hit a little bit of caffeine, I'm up all night. It's weird. I went completely opposite. Once I went cold turkey on it, now my body's like just a little bit of caffeine and I'm like bouncing off the walls. It's kind of amazing, but it's also really good, I think. So I did that, immediately lost like 20 pounds, which is, I didn't want to lose weight very quickly. I tried to do like a long-term thing where I was just kind of just building up to it and whatnot, but just eliminating that, just eliminated like 20 pounds just like the next day almost. So I got that kind of for free, that first kick in the butt. And then it was, working out a lot, and over the course of about a year and a half, I ended up getting down from 333 down to 260 was the lowest I got, and felt, as far as energy was concerned, I had lots of energy. I felt good from that perspective, felt very healthy. But I was hating life. Let me tell you, because I was at a point where it was, like I would finish eating, say, a 1,200 calorie meal and immediately have hunger pains. Like it was just bad. Like I just couldn't, it got to a point where my reserves of willpower could not regenerate fast enough to resist the urge to just fall back on the diet and fall back on the exercise and all that stuff. So what ended up happening was eventually I started to slow down with the exercise, and then I eventually stopped altogether. And my diet I maintained for a little while, but then I started to go back on that. And over the course of what is it, like 9 years now, 8 years now, um, I have ended up back almost where I started. I weighed myself the other day and I was at 322. So pretty bad. Pretty bad. What that means for the channel is that over the course of the last, I'd say, year and a half, I've started to notice that I've been very low energy, more so than normal. Um, and it's starting to affect everything like in my life. Like I'll give you an example. This past weekend, um, well, not this weekend, but the last weekend previous to it, I had these plans for I was going to record about 4 things and do my normal thing, and everything would be great. At some point when I was prepping to record the first thing I was going to record, I fell asleep just in this chair. I was ready to go. I was starting to get everything prepped. I had applications open, everything else. And, 45 minutes later, I wake up and I'm like, oh, what the heck happened? Like it just happened, right? And that's been happening a lot more. Like I come home from work and end up taking a nap and all those things. And it's not just because I'm old. It's because I don't have the energy that I should have. So that's been affecting the output of the channel. Like I have more footage recorded than I've ever had, but hardly anything edited, because every time I sit down to edit something, I end up falling asleep or something like that, or I have no energy to do it, or the willpower is not there, and it's just crazy stuff like that. And that's why the channel output's been so reduced lately and been very inconsistent. So if you've been wondering why, like, oh, you didn't upload anything today or that kind of thing, it's mostly because of that. So last week or so, I decided, yeah, I gotta get back on the train again. So I gotta get back on that wagon. So I've started exercising again. I'm back on a diet, and I'm starting to get some of that energy back. It's not quite there yet, but it's starting to come back in fits and starts. It's going to take a while. I always do things very slowly, for better or for worse, and so it's going to take a while before I can really get back to a point where it's not so much of a struggle. But I'm going to get there. Like I said, this is the kind of the vloggy thing that I don't really want to do, but it is relevant to the channel. If you've been wondering, like, man, what's going on? Why aren't you uploading things, and why aren't you editing things, and why isn't it very inconsistent with stuff? That's part of it. Part of it is I've had to change the way that I've had to change my schedule and stuff. I'm the type of person that, in order for me to exercise consistently, I need to do it in the morning. And I need to do it in the morning because I am not a morning person. And so I have a routine. And because I'm a creature of habit, if I can get into a routine in the morning where I'm always exercising and stuff, like I'm barely awake, but my brain is awake enough that it's like, all right, here's the routine I gotta go through, I'm more likely to stick with it. I can't really do it at nighttime like a lot of normal people do, because at that point my brain is like, I want to do all these things, and we're just wasting time right now, and it's hard to keep to that routine. But if I do it in the morning when I'm not really thinking yet, it just becomes an automatic thing. So it's all about kind of tricking yourself. The other thing about that is, it kind of makes me redouble my efforts with the channel, with streaming and all that stuff, because the way that I'm doing it is I'm sort of doing like a periodic fast where I try not to eat anything after 7 p.m. kind of thing. And because that's when I primarily do most of my stuff with the channel, this is a good distraction from, I'm not getting up and walking into the kitchen and eating stuff. So it's you might see an improvement there hopefully soon. It just comes down to me trying to get some of that willpower back. So hopefully, maybe this time next year, you'll see my face as it looked before, where it was a lot thinner than this. Believe it or not, I have a picture of myself when I was 260 pounds, and this huge melon that you're seeing here was actually looked normal, which is I would love to have that back. Trust me when I say I would love to have that back. It just comes down to figuring out how to trick myself into continuing with all that stuff. So it's it's not a question of desire. It's a question of how can you convince your brain that you're not about to die. You know what I mean? That's like, it's the weird thing about it. It's like, that you've just eaten, that you're doing just fine, but your brain is just screaming at you like, oh, you don't going to die if you don't eat something, and you just did. So it's like you just have to, it's not the logical part of your brain that's saying it. It's the ancient, monkey brain in the back that's like, you gotta eat. And trying to fight against that is tiring, frustrating, and there's a lot of setbacks, but hopefully I'm hoping that if I do it slow enough now, I can finally convince myself that this is fine, that everything's fine. Because I know whatever I do, I'm going to have to do for the rest of my life. So I might as well gradually move myself into it so that I can finally, make it a part of the routine, basically. So that's where we stand on that. That's kind of explains a little bit as to why I've been inconsistent and all that stuff. It terrifies me that I might be doing a live stream and suddenly just fall asleep. That's the other thing that's been keeping me from doing a lot of live streams too. Is I'm like, I've been limiting my live streams purposely to about 2.5 hours, because I'm afraid, like, I could feel at the end of 2.5 hours, I can feel like a lot of energy drained out of me. And I'm like, I could take a break, but more than likely I'm going to probably pass out if I do. So maybe I should just end the stream now, and then hopefully I can, splash some cold water on myself and just kind of get this, get the fogginess out of there. That's where we stand on that. So back to less vloggy stuff, more channel stuff. I got a bunch of new hardware. I haven't talked about it yet because I've been trying to tweak it and figure out what's going on with it and all that stuff. But I have a new mixing board, and I have a new microphone, and a few other things. So first of all, the camera that you're seeing me through is a Logitech C920. I've had it for a while. It's okay. I haven't figured out how to position it yet. Like, you can see that I'm kind of, if I sit back like this, I don't cut my chin off, but it's like, I can't, that's not a comfortable position for me to sit in. So, and it's, the way this is, like, I have a green screen behind me, obviously. But I have to zoom the camera in so that it only sees the green screen, because it's a big green screen, but the camera's got like this freaking wide ass angle that it uses, and it's hard to, you have to kind of zoom in and sort of move it, tilt it a little bit just so that it kind of gets only the green screen and stuff. And then the most frustrating thing about it is that whenever the computer reboots, the camera doesn't remember its settings. Even if I go into the Logitech settings manager and save it there, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't remember it. So next time the computer starts up, I got to go and zoom everything back in again and set it all back the way it was. And I don't know what's going on with that, but um, that's the camera. At some point, I would like to get a better camera. I mean, this camera is good enough for government work for now. But I need to figure out a way to, I don't know, mount a camera or find something that is a little less crazy pants, so we can kind of, I don't have as much trouble with it, and that kind of thing. But this works for now. I also have a light, an LED light, and has been the lifesaver as far as this is concerned. That is the primary reason why I've been so easy going with the webcam, and why I've been using the webcam more often. Because the problem I was having without this light is that the green screen, the way the lighting is in this room, there's a lot of shadows. I have like in ceiling lighting, so it casts a lot of shadows. It's long shadows, and those are reflected onto the green screen, and it causes the video camera to see the screen as a different color in certain spots, and so it gets a little blotchy stuff. In fact, you can kind of might be able to see, well, actually it's doing really well right now, but sometimes you can see like around the edges of my hair, you might see like a little bit of green bleeding through, just because of like shading and the way it, just casting shadows and stuff like that. Getting this light, and I don't remember the name of the light, I'm sorry, I forgot to look at it, but it's just an LED light. I got it turned down quite a bit. It's just white LED, and I have it shining not really on me but on the screen itself, and that has made it 1,000% difference. Like I'm always getting a consistent color now. I don't have to keep tweaking it every time I stream in OBS. It just works. As soon as I turn it on, the background just disappears, and it's great. So definitely, if you're a streamer or something like that, or you're a YouTuber and you want to do like video face cam kind of thing, get yourself an LED light and shine it on your green screen or whatever you're using as your green background or blue background or whatever. Definitely shine a light on it. Preferably like an LED light stand like I have. It just it will make a ton of difference. I also have, so the mixing board that I have is a Xenix Q802 USB. It works pretty well. It's not like the highest rated thing. I just kind of wanted to get something that would get me used to using an external thing. Not necessarily the highest thing. I'm always about like upgrading. I did it with the microphones. I did it with other things. I just wanted to kind of get a feel for it and see how things worked. And it works pretty well. It's got a compressor on it, hardware compressor. It's got some plugs where I could plug other things into it and mix it together. And it's got some equalization and things on it. So it works pretty good. I've spent many a moon tweaking it. And I think I've got I got it to a point where the audio coming through is pretty decent. The thing that I've noticed though, and this is what boggles my mind, ever since I started using that, prior to this, when I was just using a straight USB interface with no hardware stuff, whenever I would record a side quest video, I would record it to my Linux box in Audacity and record there and do all the editing there, or the fix-ups, I should say, in there. It always sounded better on that than it did on the PC. Now that I have this mixing thing, the PC sounds much better than the Linux machine, and it's boggling my mind because I don't know why it would suddenly reverse like that, but it does. You could kind of tell a difference if you listen to, say, my latest SideQuest video on what was it, Skylight. That was recorded on. No, actually, I'm sorry. That's not it. That was recorded through OBS on PC. And the SideQuest video prior to that, which I forget the name of right now, was recorded on Linux. If you compare those two, the audio in those two, you'll probably see what I'm talking about, where it just kind of sounds muddy now on the Linux and better on PC. I don't know why. I don't know why suddenly having this different interface does that, but it does. So I'm working around that as much as I can and see what I can do. I'm starting to record more with just OBS now, because it just seems to come out a lot nicer, a lot better. Just like I'm recording this video through OBS, but that's mostly because of the webcam stuff. But you know what I'm getting at. So I have that, and then I've got a new microphone. I got the Shure Shure MDX or whatever it is. I don't remember the name of this thing, but it's a pretty expensive one. It's like $400 or something like that, and it's it's the one that's comes highly recommended for by musicians and stuff like that. It's really basically I went from having what do they call them? This is a dynamic mic, and prior to that I had condenser mics. That's what it was. So I had the Blue Yeti before that, and I had the Marantz one, and they were both condenser mics, and they're good, but they pick up everything in the room. And that was always the problem. Is like I always had to do a lot of noise removal, which kind of distorts your voice a little bit, but it works really well. But it's kind of a trade-off. And what I really needed was a dynamic mic, because that works a lot better with vocals and stuff, especially when you're up close and doing stuff like that. So that seems to be working out a lot better now. Like the audio sounds, I think, worlds better than it did. Doesn't quite have the bass that it used to have. I've tried to tweak the bass a little bit, but it is what it is. And I also I have a lot of problems with like plosives and stuff. Like even though it's got a foam cover on it, I'm still able to somehow defeat that. And a lot of my P's and S's and stuff like that start to peak the microphone, and you can hear them like really hardcore, which is not what you want. So I've moved it away from my face a little bit. That seems to have helped a little bit. So we'll see. The other problem is with echo and stuff. I haven't done anything with the noise foam yet. I have a few pieces of it up on the ceiling, but I haven't done anything around the room. I have probably the worst possible room you could have for recording in, because I've got a hardwood floor and I've got a high ceiling. So I'm kind of working around that. I think there's some kind of either it's a plug-in or it comes with OBS that I think does some echo cancellation, I think. So I might want to look at that. I don't have that on right now. I haven't tweaked that yet. There's a lot of settings in OBS that I've tweaked, and I have to really back those up, because it's taken me months to kind of get it to a point where it feels right, and everything's like I don't have to do quite as much fix-ups in Audacity now as I used to. So it's working out a lot better, I think, than it ever has, honestly. So that's the hardware purchases I've done. Lots of upgrades to the channel. Just keep on constantly, improving whenever I can, and doing little baby steps here and there. So that's where we're at with that. As far as videos on the channel are concerned, continuing with Assassin's Creed, I will do some more Stationeers. I've been doing like mini-sodes of Stationeers, where I try to take one concept and just go with that, rather than having a full-on fledged video. That's going to take some more work to do. I might have one more of those this week. I'm not sure, where I do the airlock. But then after that, I need time to kind of figure out the rest of the game because I haven't really figured it out yet. So I'm trying to figure out like the best path for other things in the game. So patience will be needed on that. Warframe is just going to be a stream only thing. Not going to put that on the channel. I did have a recording of it that I was thinking of putting on the channel, but it was not very good because I was so intimidated by the game that I didn't really commentate that much. I was total focus. In fact, someone showed up in the chat and was like, do you have a mic or not? And I'm like, oh yeah, I do. I'm talking. But because I hadn't been talking for a while there, and I think out of the 2.5 hours I streamed, I think I had like 30 minutes of me actually talking, and the rest just being me completely focused. So I'm going to work on that a bit. I'm not quite as intimidated now by it as I was. So I kind of see what's going on now. So I think I should be a little bit better with that. I am playing Elder Scrolls Online, and I am enjoying it quite a bit. That will be going up on the channel in some form. I have lots of stuff recorded. It's going to be more like a Horizon Zero Dawn thing where I get it up when I have finally edited things. I have one episode up. I intend on getting another episode up this week. So we should be good with that. I got a lot. I've done a lot in there. I've got a lot accomplished. Last time I looked, I was about 10 hours in. I'm probably about 12 to 13 hours in now. And there's tons and tons of stuff to do. So it's an Elder Scrolls game. So there's going to be hundreds of hours of things in there. So expect more of that. I am trying to keep those videos, down to a manageable level, like 20, 30 minutes. We'll see how successful I am at that. I think I could do 20 to 30 minutes on there because it's, an RPG that's quest based, and, should be relatively straightforward, I think, to do that. Playing Just Cause 3 over on Caffeine. I intend on playing some more of that soonish. I don't know when. I don't really have a streaming schedule yet because I'm still trying to figure out my schedule as it is. So just bear with me on that. And at some point I have to get back to recording locally, Pyre and No One Lives Forever. Pyre, I definitely want to finish that. I definitely want to finish both. It's just I have to figure out when I'm going to do it because my time has been consumed a lot by just streaming and doing other things. I've got some new end slates on the videos on the channel. I need to make a few more. I've got a few now. Got a new song that we're playing on the channel. I figured it's a new year. Might as well switch things up a little bit. And I got more of those to do. I've been working on the Steam curator stuff a little bit. I got a few more curator things on there. I've actually gotten a couple games have been given to me on the curator thing. My curator page is memory dump. Not the best of things to call it, but it's. I'm bad at naming things, so there you go. Memory Dump is what it's named. You can feel free to follow that if you want to on Steam. And also, I don't think I've ever mentioned the Steam stuff. Like a lot of my side quest videos, I actually put up on Steam in their video section for the games. So you may see me over there too at times. Memory Leak Death on Steam, if you're wondering. So you may see some of my videos there too. Just keep that in mind. Bear that in mind as we're doing things. I think that about covers most of the stuff. I think I've talked for like 50 minutes. So time for me to get to recording some other things here. I have some other stuff on my plate. Haven't done much with the consoles lately. I have pre-purchased Monster Hunter World. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I don't know if I'm just going to do a stream of that or if I'm going to record it to YouTube. I don't know. Well, obviously I'm going to stream it, but I don't know if I'm going to also upload those streams to YouTube. I'm not sure. I've never played a Monster Hunter game, so I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. I've heard really good things about them. And I looked at the Monster Hunter World, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn, although maybe not quite as good with the movement mechanics. But a lot of people are hyped up about it. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of good things about the previous Monster Hunter games. So I'm up for trying it. So I'm going to try that out and see how I like it or not. And we'll see where that goes with that. I think that's coming out the 24th, which would put it next week, maybe? Next week, yeah. It'll be Wednesday of next week is the 24th, I think. So yeah, that's we'll see how that goes. There's a couple things coming out this at the same time I've had my eyes on, so hopefully I'll be able to cover all those things, and hopefully I'll enjoy all those things too. That'd be great. But yeah, also, as far as Horizon Zero Dawn is concerned, like I mentioned before, I've been finished that game since early December. So I am now, I think, on my, just now getting on to the final recording of that, the final session of that. So we should be seeing the end of the Frozen Wilds hopefully very shortly. I might be able to double up a couple of those on the week or something like that. We'll see. My editing is what's really holding me back right now. I've got more, like I said, I got more record footage than I've ever had. Now it just comes down to actually editing things. Slime Rancher 2. I haven't gotten back to Slime Rancher in a while. It's been like 2 weeks or so since I've played any Slime Rancher, since I've streamed any. I'm close to the end on that, I would think. I'm in the final area and I'm doing a lot of stuff. I just need to sit down and stream it. I mean, that's all it comes down to, and record that. Anything that I'm recording, I can't stream on Caffeine because it uses its own app. You can't use like OBS. You can use OBS, but it's janky how you have to do it. And they have their own app, and it's doesn't give you any options to do much of anything, which is just weird and crazy. I don't know why they didn't just fork OBS, because that would be what a normal sane person would do, is just like, hey, we got this open source thing that people know how to use. Let's fork that and do our thing on there. But I don't know. I don't get it. But so anything I do on Caffeine will just be things that I'm not going to record, like Just Cause 3 or Fortnite or something like that. So I think Fortnite is just getting a new map too. I just saw an email about that, and I might want to jump back into that too. I'm leery about doing that on Mixer because a lot of people stream Fortnite on Mixer, and it's I'm intimidated by that. So I'll probably do that over on Caffeine where nobody will see it. Let's put it that way, because I'm pretty bad at the game, pretty darn bad at it. So I need to do that somewhere where no one's going to see it. But anyway, and of course, Wild Buster, which you're seeing on your screen right now, I'll be playing more of that. Play more of Origin Space as well. I really like that game. I might record that. And Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire, like I said, blew up on Twitch. I'm going to probably stream that tomorrow, I'd say. So that's it for me. That's it for this channel update, my friends. I know I like to hear myself talk, and I know they're long, but I do it for a reason. I do it because I only do it once a month, and because otherwise I would talk your ears off constantly. So thanks everybody for watching. Welcome to the newbies to the channel. Welcome back to the veterans. Thank you all for being around, and patience with me, if you will, with my failings. And thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.